Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Scott Smokin Silz and Brad Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Ref Room. I am Scott Smokin Silz, joined by our referee-in-chief, Mr. Brad Baumruck. What's up, my friend?
Not much. It's Monday, and you know what? It was a beautiful weekend out. I don't know about the storms by you, but they were quite intense up down here.
Yeah, we got a lot of rain, But it's pretty nice today. I mean, we're supposed to get some rain. I think we got a little drizzle, but it warmed up at least. It's we're on the right side of things. That's all I can say. Poor White Sox,
yes,
not so much. Opening day for all you Southsiders, not going so well. How many runs did they give up? And the answer
13.
is, how many?
13.
13. See, we got to talk about other sports besides hockey because it's the off season. How many millions of dollars does a pitcher get paid for having an ERA of like 13?
So it was 12 they scored, and his ERA is 13.5. Let's get
13.5. Right that probably gets you like, $5-6 million a year easily, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely something.
It's unbelievable. So we got a couple things. Let's talk a little NHL. We might have to start talking golf. It's Masters week, and a lot of guys aren't playing hockey right now. So, starting Wednesday, there's the par 3 tournament and all that good stuff. But no, I want to talk about the NHL, and the new jerseys. So the contract, and I don't mean New Jersey, I mean the new jerseys.
I know.
But by the way, the best jersey out there is the one that says Jersey on it, and it's New Jersey Devils. It's a jersey. Yeah. If you don't understand it, you don't get it, you'll be like, yeah, it's a jersey. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so the contract with Adidas is expiring. And so now they're going to a different company. And a lot of people are like, seriously, like we don't have a hockey company involved in, the NHL jersey. A lot of people are disappointed. I don't know if it's, if there's a history that they made other stuff that wasn't great. I'm not going to say the name of the company, but a lot of people are upset about that. I don't know. You have an opinion on that? Or how about all the people that are checking us out? You have an opinion on that? Would you like to see, a CCM or a Bauer? I was kind of thinking like Warrior would be great. Warrior makes really nice stuff. I'd love to see them jump in and Brad just totally disappeared. Don't know what he hit on his computer. Here, he's coming back. We'll get him back here in a second. But okay, Brad, what did you hit there? You can't hit the power button, buddy. But anyway, so we're talking about the jerseys. I'd love to see like Warrior come in. I mean, they make great stuff, and that would be a cool company to see something a little bit new. I mean, I think they're owned by Reebok, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right? And there he goes. He keeps playing with his computer. Apparently, what are you bailing on me here, buddy?
There you go. I don't know. That was weird. It wouldn't let me back in. Yeah. I think, you'd said Warrior would be a good one, so I apologize. Yeah. That's the last thing I heard.
Yeah. No, I just think aren't they owned by Reebok? Does Reebok own Warrior?
I don't know. Those companies have been bought and sold so many times. I don't really know.
They're all intertwined. But anyway, so that was one thing. Then, of course, the other big news is Taves. A lot of people are saying he's retiring, but, I saw him on, what he said. And if you listen between the words, it sounds more like he's not retiring. He just probably won't be a Chicago Blackhawk. I think he's going to try to come back and play. I don't think he wants to be done with his career at this point. But, that's what I kind of gathered from, the announcement that was made or what was said. It wasn't like I'm hanging him up. It's more like, well, it might be my last game as a Chicago Blackhawk. So I don't know.
It didn't seem like he was ready to retire yet, but that can change. He's got an off season coming up here.
Yeah.
I mean, that can all change in a drop of a hat.
Hopefully he gets his health back to 100% and, he can compete. I mean, he's young enough, he could still play a few more years, and I'm sure he'd be great for some of the teams out there. I'm sure somebody could use an experienced veteran with a lot of playoff experience, and that's a good team leader. He's not going to get the money that he's been making here in Chicago, obviously. I don't think that's going to happen for him. Not that he, not that he needs it. He's probably made enough over his career, but it depends on if he wants to go through the grind and play. So, be interesting to see what happens.
It was funny because I was actually sitting around talking with some friends, and when you play professional hockey, those guys are on the ice almost every day.
Yeah.
Right, and then they're at the gym every day, and I mean, to us, hey, it's fun. We go do it. We referee. The kids growing up, it's a lot of fun. It keeps them occupied, but to do it as a job, it's got to be exhausting after a while, because if you really think about it, he's been playing since he was 3. Yeah. He's 38 years old, so 35 years of his life, all he's done is basically played hockey. Like Dustin Byfuglien hung him up and said, I'm done. And, I think you just get probably fatigued of it. And not only that, you get beaten up throughout the season. And, it's kind of, I got to go through another day of, whatever, So I could see why guys are like, I think I'm done with this when they start to get, 40 years old. I can see it.
I know. I mean, we all wish we were, in that position to have to make that decision. And, being 30, would you say 30, 35, 33?
I think he's 38 because I'm 39.
38,
so
okay.
He's close.
I mean, he's still young enough. He's got a long life ahead, okay? I mean, what are you going to do for the next 30 years?
Well,
he can afford to retire,
34.
but you can't just sit at the golf club every day. You got to have something to look forward to. Well, you can, but
I could retire and sit at the golf club every day.
yeah,
I mean, there's always something to do at the golf club. You can go out and hit some balls.
But,
you can play cards. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, somebody, Mr. Bialco says, Big Buff is a professional fisherman now. See, now he could probably afford his own charter boat. Look at that, so he could have his own boat and, he could still be making a few bucks if he knows a couple good spots to take the tourists, okay? And Karen said, New Balance owns. Thank you for that, Karen. Yeah, it's New Balance. I'd love to see, we were talking about Warrior or somebody like that coming in and doing the jerseys.
I think,
again, it's not going to happen.
I think it's just, I think they open it up to different markets and, different companies have different followings is the big thing. And, certain people buy only certain clothes. They only buy Nike shoes. They're brand loyal, right?
Yeah,
well,
big
somebody
time.
that's brand loyal might pick up a jersey because it's in that brand, and I think they're just looking to expand, their market. The NHL is the fifth largest market for sports. They're looking for fans, I think, any way that they can.
Yeah,
and I commend them for at least trying.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I see the AHL is trying to push their commissioner out. I read something yesterday about that. There's something going on there. Maybe. For any of you guys that work the A, maybe you have some insight into that. Love for you to share it. And Mark Bialco said bass fishing. All right, very cool.
All right.
I'd go fishing with Buff. That'd be, you sit out there, you have a couple beers, and you tell stories. I mean, he's got to have some good stories to tell. He's got to be able to handle a couple beers. I mean, perfect matchup there.
Fishing is so boring. I'm sorry. For people that fish all the time.
Well, I couldn't do it all the time.
You have a hobby. I can't do it.
If you do a half a day, you go out for a half a day, that's plenty. You're out there for 3.5 hours. You move from place to place. I think it's very nice if you're on a nice, relaxing lake. I'm not talking about being on Lake Michigan. I don't need to be on Lake Michigan fishing for 4 hours or 8 hours.
You're not going muskie fishing? Is that what you're saying?
Not doing it. I mean, I did. As a matter of fact, I went with one of the Blackhawks once. I went on a fishing boat. We rented one for the day and went out there, and the water was choppy as can be. And eventually, I fed the fish.
You get motion sickness, huh?
Well, yeah. It was rough out there, and we went way out, and. So what did they bring for lunch? They brought like Italian subs, like genuine Italian subs that like left the aftertaste with you. Wasn't, probably not the thing you want to have in that situation, but that's all there was. So you ate and you blew.
Yeah,
what can I say?
I'm lucky. I don't get motion sickness.
What can I say?
I'm like, yeah, whatever.
But we did catch some fish. So, that was kind of cool. You take turns. It's like, next one on. And, we definitely got some fish. So, but yeah, we went pretty far out there. All right. So we covered a couple things with the jerseys. So now I want to talk about a few things with regard to hockey. I'm going to start with a Facebook post that I saw earlier today. And I want to bring you guys up to speed on this one because this one's kind of interesting. Give me a second to pull this thing back up. But it was a game that was up in Minnesota, and it was like a U12 game. And there were a couple phantom whistles that stopped play, and everyone, officials and players, were confused. Offsides-like situations. Then the home team has a breakaway, and about the blue line, there's a phantom whistle and play stops. The officials are confused, but one of the home team coaches saw a coach from the visiting team pocket a whistle. So the officials investigate, and yes, the coach was blowing plays dead. Officials give him a match for conduct detrimental to the game. Bye-bye. So the question he asked the group, would you restore the breakaway with a penalty shot? I can't find this type of situation or interference by spectators on a breakaway specified in the rules or the casebook. I'm sure these types of incidents are not described because they should be obscenely rare, is what he said. Hey, guys are always looking for an angle. I mean, coaches, I think most of them are honorable people, but, there are guys out there that just, like, need to do what they need to do. So, I don't know.
You know what? I've been in a game. I've never had a coach do it like that, but I have had like. Have you ever seen the lollipops that have the whistle in them for kids? Yeah. Those things, like if a kid gets them, and they're like 5 or 6, normally when they have these things and they're walking around and they're blowing it in the middle of the ring, they don't realize what they're doing and it stops playing, and then you have to go over there and you're like, "Excuse me, can you take the candy away from the little kid?" You feel like a jerk, but you just gotta keep going with it. But with the coach, you're gonna match him, and unfortunately, you're not gonna replay that. I mean, it's a dead play. Unfortunately, it'd just be like if the buzzer went off on accident because of the timekeeper. Yeah. Right.
And that does happen. And like honestly, if you hear that, you guys got to work it out. Or if it's going off, are you going to continue to play and everybody knows we're going to keep playing until you hear like the referee blow the whistle, or are you going to be like, okay, that was unfair, we need to just shut down here? And, everybody kind of stopped. Nobody expected it. We haven't had it happen before. So it happened once. We just stop play. And then, it's like, along the boards, no big deal, nothing going on. And it's like, keep playing, boys, keep playing. And, everybody's like, okay, yeah, and game continues. You just kind of have to feel it out. But,
you got to work through it, unfortunately. Yeah. Sometimes it's just a weird situation. And you're like, normally if you communicate, like you said, come on, all right, let's keep going, that wasn't real, most of the players are going to pick up on it. They're not going to skate away that fast because they're just as dumbfounded as you are when it happens.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting too,
is key,
because we've got a lot of rinks that are I'll call them open. Like there's a couple of rinks that have 3 rinks in them, and the ceilings are all wide open. They connect the 3 rinks, and you can hear the buzzer go off from rink to rink, and they have the buzzers turned down, so they're not like it's not like buzzer and you need to stop. It's like in the distant, in the background, but you do hear whistles from time to time, and that could be a little confusing too. You have that in the rinks, and you even have some people, I'm not saying they're parents or kids, but some people can whistle pretty well, and they can almost get you to think like, are we stopping play here? So, just one of those things. But I thought that was an interesting post that somebody would do that.
No, it's a good post.
Yeah, crazy stuff happens. It's hockey.
Funny that a coach would be doing that. He's lucky. Hey, you know what? That coach is more lucky that the other coach didn't climb over into his bench and start punching him. I mean, really, if you really think about stuff like that, that's like next level going across the line stuff, to where like, the other team it's not only the referees that are going to get mad. You're dealing with a whole nother animal there. I mean, that can end up very badly for you. I wouldn't suggest it if I was, ever coaching. Yeah. I mean, I would never do it anyways. My ethics wouldn't let me go that far, but.
Yeah. I'm just dumbfounded at some of the stuff that happens out there. I mean, honestly.
These
guys sit up at night trying to figure out where can I get an advantage when I need it on this particular team?
Well, Scott, so let's talk about, where you're bringing that, where, are they thinking about it? Yes, they are. Yes, and you know what? It's sad to say that, but it's still a game, and you're going to look for an edge any way you can. Now, this is like an extreme, thing that hopefully nobody will ever experience in your refereeing. But, like in college hockey, you can't play the puck off a face-off with your hand.
Right.
So, and that was due to college teams figured out there's 3 seconds left. We don't want him to get a shot. If I just fall on the puck and push it backwards, who cares? It's going to be a hand pass. We're going to stop, but they're not going to get a shot. So they put that rule in there. There's always a rule added for what, everybody's going to come up with. So
absolutely. That's why that book keeps getting thicker and thicker and thicker. It just keeps growing.
Well, I thought it was because the referee population was getting older and they were making the font bigger and bigger and bigger, but I don't think that's the case. No, I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of hand passes, that's something that I actually wanted to talk about today because, I see a lot of people are confused by hand passes. I've seen teams that are confused by hand passes, which just blows my mind. How do you know, playing USA hockey, that a hand pass in the defensive zone is okay? It's legal. You keep playing. I've seen coaches lose their mind over it. Like, you've never seen a hand pass? Like, how long you've been coaching? I mean,
that could be the reason.
You got to be playing under the same set of rules. I mean, I get you're from out of town, but like, don't you have the same rules in the other states as we do? Like a hand pass inside the zone is legal. Once it's hand passed across the blue line, it's not legal.
Yeah. If it's passed inside the zone and completed in the zone, it's a good pass.
Right. But a lot of people don't realize that if it's hand passed and it goes across the blue line and it's picked up, it's now a whistle. It's a hand pass and it goes back into the defensive zone. And hand passes go back how far, people? Put it in the comments. A hand pass goes back how far? We'll wait. We'll give them a second. So we can get somebody to give us an answer here. It's real simple. It goes back one zone. Okay, hand pass goes back one zone from where it started, where it was initiated.
One dot.
One dot. One dot. Yeah.
Not zone. One dot.
Yeah, you're right. Back one dot.
Terminology. A lot of the time it is into the next zone, but
yeah, exactly. But yeah, well,
one dot.
Well, if you were across the red line and it was a hand pass, you would come back as zone. You'd come back to the other side of the neutral zone. So
yeah, but that's the blue line to the blue line's the neutral zone.
It is neutral zone, yes, but you're going to come back across the red line. So, all right, makes sense.
You're going into your defensive half of the ice at that point.
Right. You're right.
Well, what about Scott?
So here's
the interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. The interesting exception to that is it happened a long time ago. And it actually happened in one of our like semifinals or finals before USA Hockey had actually put it in the rule book. Is the hand pass that's backwards?
Well,
okay. So
you went right where I was headed. So go ahead.
All right. Well,
I love it.
That's okay. We'll go with it. So, but like, let's say I'm at the my offensive blue line, right? Well, I kind of puck gets shot up. I really need it to like slow down at least. So I hand pass it, right? And in USA Hockey, after you hand pass it, it's a hand pass. It's not like in, college rules or federation to where a hand pass, if it's not to somebody, it's not a hand pass. But USA Hockey defines a hand pass anytime that you pass the puck with your hand, right? So they'll play it at that blue line, right? And it'll go behind them 40 feet, and the guy picks it up. Okay, it's still a hand pass at that point, but it didn't used to be in the rule book where that face-off would go. It used to be worded that it would go from where the pass originated.
Which would give them an advantage. So you'd be moving forward when you should be going backwards. Yeah.
Correct. So there was a referee that it did happen to, a very experienced referee that was here many years. He moved quite a few years ago. But he said
after he made that determination,
he had to leave he got together with everybody, and he's like, this isn't fair. Like, I know the rules are written certain ways, but it was open to some judgment there as to, hey, it should go, back to where it was passed. But he's like, why are we going to give him an advantage on this? So they put it back in the zone, and I think it changed, like 4 years after that, because it was the 2 years then at that point. And, yeah, if they hand pass it backwards, it goes back to the spot where the player catches the puck, not from where it's passed.
Right.
So if you're getting an advantage, it goes backwards. If you're losing an advantage by passing it, that's your problem, and it goes backwards still. So it's always going backwards. It'll never go forwards.
So I'm going to go a step further, and I'm going to let you break this down for us. So if you have a deflected puck, meaning somebody fires the puck out, maybe they fire it out of their zone, you're in the neutral zone, and you put your hand up and, it deflects off your glove, and it's going backwards, and you're not gaining an advantage, and your teammate picks the puck up, do we have a hand pass, or do we just have a deflected puck and keep playing?
You have a deflected puck. It wasn't directed in any fashion.
Exactly.
We got to use some
and
knowledge.
This is something
in there.
I see all the time with referees. I see like a puck is like in the neutral zone and it ends up going backwards because it went off a glove and it wasn't passed. They don't even know there's anybody back there. There is nobody back there. But all you've done is try to knock the puck down and keep play moving somehow. And all of a sudden they rule a hand pass, they blow the whistle, and they take the puck back. It's like, what are you doing? So,
here's one that we had come in. So that if this ever happens to anybody, hey, don't do this. So there's 4 referees out on the ice, right? One linesman is in front of the benches. This guy shoots it, and out of natural reaction, right, he sticks his hand out like this to protect himself. The puck goes into his hand. He catches it, right? So it was going to go off the boards and keep going. So he takes it and he shovels it behind him, and it bounces off the boards, right? And it goes down the ice. It goes all the way to the far blue line, okay? Defenseman picks it up, marches it down the ice, and scores.
Wow.
Okay? If you accidentally catch the puck like that, you got to stop play. You've just changed the play. It didn't just bounce off you. And what's funny is when they talked to the referee about it, he said, it happened so fast. He's like, I didn't even think about it. He's like, it just went to me, and I just kept it going on its course. And that's what happened. He's like, I never would have thought that, in a million years that this guy would march it right down the ice and score. Hey,
of course
he's like,
I know march it down the ice because it has to happen when that happens, right?
Right. So, he was apologetic about it, afterwards. And, I think everybody had a better laugh about it than anything. Because even he saw the video and he's like, oh, I know exactly why you guys are calling. Like, he was humble about it. And, these things happen. It, just try to get it right the next time. I don't think.
But it always happens at the worst time. Waving icing just because you thought you could have waved it, okay? And what happens? It ends up being a goal. So it always works that way. So whatever not supposed to happen happens. But yeah, so I wanted to cover that because that one I see that a lot. I see that with a lot of the officials.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And guys, if you're not sure about that, talk to some of your partners or ask some questions with regard to that. But if it's not a intent to play the puck, gain an advantage, it's just a deflection. I mean, pucks come up. Now, that puck comes up and you go to bat it and goes back a couple feet right to your defensive partner. I'd say you probably got a stoppage at that point. You got to think about it.
Yeah,
they gained an advantage. They got the puck. They're going to go somewhere with it. Advantage gained, stoppage of play. Just like the little ticky-tacky interference call, but, it's a turnover, and it's going to give them a scoring opportunity. You probably wouldn't have made that call if there wasn't a turnover that was going to lead to an immediate scoring opportunity in that situation. You got to call a penalty at that point. It's kind of the same thing. This is not a penalty situation, but when you see something that turns over and somebody's getting an unfair advantage that they did not deserve, that's when you got to kind of keep in mind that it's a shutdown.
All right, I got a good one for you, Scott.
Okay.
Puck goes up in the air. Player reaches up.
That's never good. Okay, that's never good in the first place. As an official, the last place you want to see is the puck up in the air.
You're right. So player goes up, offensive player grabs it, right? Takes it, throws it down, it goes off of his stick and goes into the net.
Was it propelled by the stick is the question.
That is the answer to this question, but do you have a goal there?
Was it propelled? So I would say if it's a case of he's throwing the puck down and it just accidentally hit his stick and went in, I got no goal on that play. If he threw it down and he makes a motion with the stick and he makes a connection with the puck and it goes in, we got a good goal. That's how I would go.
Correct. Yep. Now, with the no goal, where's the face-off?
I finally got one right. Wow. I need confetti on the screen or something. The face-off goes back to center ice because we got a good goal.
It's not for the goal. For the no goal situation.
If it's no goal, we're going to go outside the zone.
Yep.
And guys, like, remember this: if you have a shot on goal and you determine it's no goal and you had a stick above the shoulder, the puck goes all the way down. It goes all the way down. Okay, you got a stoppage, you got no goal. It's no longer a face-off, in the defensive zone. Or outside the zone. It's still a high stick. It's going to go all the way down. So that's something I've seen, mistaken a few times as well. And players get confused by that sometimes if they don't know all the rules. They get confused by the high stick versus the hand pass. If that was a hand pass, we have no goal. Then, if it was a, like a hand pass, it comes outside the zone.
Yep.
So.
And also the other interesting part is if there's a hand pass on net in your offensive zone, it's an immediate stoppage. It's not. Now, what's interesting about it is the high stick rule, since you brought it up, we'll just keep it together going here, is the high stick rule. If it's a high stick and it's on net, as long as the goalie doesn't freeze it, you can continue play. If it's a hand pass on net, though, it's automatic whistle.
Right.
And it stops.
And it goes outside the zone. And this was
Correct.
reading. We were going to talk about face-off locations, but we're actually covering some of these face-off locations right now. So we're killing two birds with one stone. So stay with us on this if you're trying to follow along at home. All right. So the other thing I see frequently, let's say there's an offside play, and we will just say that the offside occurred. The player carrying the puck in, he's onside. He's not the person that's offside. The person offside is on the opposite side of the bench. I'll just use opposite side of the bench so we can all understand or visualize this in our minds. But we're not doing radio; it's theater of the mind. We could probably have graphics for this. But we've got a player that's offsides over on the bench side, and the player that had the puck is not on the bench side. But I see a lot of officials take that offside and have the face-off where the person that was offside was in the zone. And that's not right. So it's whoever's got the puck. If you have the puck and you have an offsides and the puck is over on your side, it's staying on your side for the face-off. It doesn't go where the guy skated in offsides. It's where the puck came in offsides. Does that make sense for everybody? Give me a thumbs up in the comments or something if you're following along here at home. Yeah. Okay. Brad gets it.
I can't do the thumbs up in the comments.
Right. But yeah, so that's one of the things that we see a lot of. See a lot too on say a face-off. Goaltender makes a save. It's where the puck is shot from. Okay, if the puck is shot from the left side,
where the puck originated.
Okay.
So,
originated. I always say shot from. It's where it was shot from.
But it is where it's shot. It's where it's shot from.
So
that's
if you're
the
on
more
the
precise
if you're
way.
on the left side of you're the left defenseman and you fired the puck, and even though the goalie makes the save on what would be your right side, but his left side, like his catching glove if he's right-handed, okay, the face-off isn't on that side of the ice. It's on the side where the shot originated from.
Yep.
Okay, and I see a lot of people confuse that. Does it change if let's say the goalie bobbles the puck and it's loose and now he dives on it on the left side? Does the face-off move to the right side or does it stay on that left side?
Still stays on the left.
Because it's where it originated from. And I see a lot of confusion with that too. So
And the biggest thing is with marking face-offs properly. The one thing is like coaches that are inept to the game, let's put it that way, they're already thinking about what their next play is going to be or their next center because, hey, if I got that play on the left side of the net, I'm sending out Johnny. If I got the play on the right side of the net, I'm sending out Robert. So it becomes important on our side to make sure that we're able to allow the coaches and the players to do their jobs because of the job that we're doing. So it is critical that we do put these things on a certain side too. Plus, some teams do learn that some goalies have a weak, blocker.
yeah.
And they want to take every face-off from over there. So they'll shoot from that blocker side the entire game. Yeah. That way they have more chances to shoot from that blocker side. So, it doesn't seem like a lot when we're refereeing. It doesn't really matter to us if you really think about it. But it does really matter to the game. We do need to make sure the face-offs get to where they belong.
Right. So let's say you're on the bench side of the ice and you shoot the puck and the puck goes off the crossbar. The face-off is going to be inside the zone, and it's going to be on the bench side still. So everybody understands. Right. It's where it's shot from or originates from, as Brad would like to say. Because that's another one that you don't see. If the puck hits part of the goal frame, okay, hits the goal frame and goes out of the rink, the face-off is inside. Goes off the glass and hits the netting. Still inside, okay? Trying to think what other scenarios we could have that would kind of define where some of these face-off locations would be, because it is confusing for some of the newer officials.
High stick that goes out of play.
It's a high stick.
Where would it go? Yep.
All the way down.
You got it. That's what caused the play. So
it's still a high stick. So that's what's causing the stoppage. Okay. So let's say we have two players that we have a high stick. I've high sticked the puck, and now if I touch it, it's a whistle and it's going to come back in my zone. So I'm not going to touch it. And the other player comes and he's like, well, I'm not going to touch it either. How's that? So you're going to have the whistle. Guess what? It's still a whistle, folks. And guess where the face-off goes? All the way down.
All the way
for
down.
the team that high stick the puck, okay? You know, they're obligated to keep play moving. If the other team, they have no obligation to play that puck in that situation because it's been illegally played with the high stick.
Correct.
So they can stop. They're going to get that face-off down there. It's their choice. If you back off far enough, they may want to take the puck and try to run it on you if they can. But, you know, that's
some teams
their
will
choice.
play it and some don't.
Exactly.
Yep.
All right, let's see if we can come up with a couple more good scenarios of face-off. Oh, okay. So we got a penalty situation. If we have a penalty, typically the puck is coming back down into the offensive zone for a face-off. But there are times when
you mean our defensive zone? So if I'm the violating team, it's going down into my defensive zone.
Yeah, but if I'm the offensive team that I did not incur the penalty, I'm on the good side of the penalty. I'm going to be on the power play.
Okay, you're going to be on the
offensive zone. It's going to go all the way down into the what would
I got
be
where
my
you're going
zone.
with this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's why we do this, so we get both sides of it. All right. But there are times when the puck will not go into your defensive zone, my offensive zone. It's not going to go all, as we like to say, all the way down. It's going to come back out to the blue line. And the reason for that is if you commit an offside that stops play during that delayed penalty, okay, then you don't get a double advantage. You can't be offside and get the offensive zone face-off. You are the one that stopped play. Your team stopped play. Therefore, the puck is going to come back outside of the blue line where it would go for a normal offside play.
Correct.
Does that sound right?
Did
I describe that well? Yeah.
No, it was good. It's any time that the team that's going to have the advantage on the ice, if they cause the stoppage of play. So offsides, high stick, out of play, stuff like that, icing, those things. They're not going to get an automatic advantage to move it, all the way down.
Let's cover that.
They're going to give you a lot.
Let's say we stop play. We are going to get a power play, but we high stick the puck. So the puck at that point, we're going to have the stoppage. But since we stop play, well, the puck would go all the way down in our zone because we're the violators of the stick above the shoulder rule. So the puck would go down in our zone. But because we have the penalty in that situation, the puck will now come outside the zone. So it'll be in what would be my defensive zone, half of the ice, but across the blue line. How should I describe that better? Does that make sense?
Well, it goes all the way down and it just comes outside.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Did everybody get that? But that's what I was trying to say.
No, I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
so those are a couple things that. What's that?
One that I had happen, which I had honestly never seen it happen, was, maybe I have and I just forgot, but I had a guy at center ice, right? He's just behind the dot, and I know we have to go. Just behind the dot, right? Yeah, and he hand passes it, but it goes out of play. So, the linesman was going to put it at the center ice dot, and I'm like, hey, whoa, hang on. I'm like, no, I go, it's got to go one more back. They're like, why? He's standing right there. I go, yeah, but you're moving it 4 inches forward. I go, you got to remember, you got to go back. He's like, oh, yeah. And I think it's just one of those things because of the puck going out of play. It was kind of like, all right, well, we'll put it here. That was close. But I'm like, well, wait a minute, because now we have an advantage situation. And We moved it back, and the coach wanted to know too, and I explained it to him. No problem.
Right. Why don't you cover, because this happens frequently. Let's say you have a team that doesn't sit on their bench. They all stand. They like to stand up.
Okay. I know where you're going with
this. Lean over the boards. And they like to lean over the boards. And let's say I'm in, how should we could do this two different ways.
So this, hang on. This used to be called the Chicago Steel play. Okay, so back in the day, the Chicago Steel would choose their home bench when they would get a power play, right? What would happen is if the other team was along the sideboards where their bench is, all the players would lean out of the bench. So that if they shot it, it would hit them, right? They were trying to get hit by it so that it would stay down in their zone from where they shot it, right? Because they shot it out of play, it hit a player on the bench. Well, there are some judgments into this, so you gotta take it to effect. Are they leaning into the playing field, or did they shoot it out? Now, you're gonna have some stuff where the stick is hanging in, stuff like that, and it's gonna get hit. Again, you're gonna have to use your judgment here. All right, 99.9% of the time, it's probably gonna end up back in that zone where that player shot it. But there are the cases to where the guy's leaning out, looking, he can't get out of the way. Or there's 4 guys leaning out, and 3 of them get out of the way, and it hits the 4th guy, and it stops it from going down. Well, if that player wouldn't have been there, they wouldn't have been able to dump the puck. Now, we're not going to see this as much either, though, because it only used to happen on the penalty kill. You know, at their level. Now, it doesn't really happen on 5-on-5, but I get where you're going with it.
But you do see pucks hitting players on the bench. They hit gloves. Guys have their gloves, on the bench. They're standing. They're not sitting. I mean, I almost wish they'd, if you're a linesman working in a 4-man or a 3-man system, it's gotten so bad. It was one thing when you just had like a glove or an arm, and somebody's kind of leaning on the bench. It's gotten to the point where they got sticks 3 feet out into the ice surface. It's getting almost impossible for the linesman to do his job over there, because they're so far out. I would love to see USA Hockey come up with something that forces them to be on the bench.
Good team, sit down. There you go.
Yeah.
That's my free coaching tip of the week.
Absolutely. You could tell, like, a coach has control of his team when the team is sitting on the bench and they don't look like they're in a panic. The teams that standing up.
You should be so tired when you get to the bench, you don't want to stand up.
Yeah. I agree. So
that's my take.
For coaches, think about that. Think about what message that sends to your opponent's team when you have total control of your bench when everybody's sitting down, just like they do in the big league. In the big league, they sit on the bench. They don't all stand up over the bench.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they don't get excited and jump up at some point, but
there's a lot of that.
Yeah, but they're disciplined. They know where they're supposed to be, and it doesn't look like a free for all. And then little Johnny can't even get on the ice because he's got 16 other guys standing up back there, and now he can't even get to the boards to get on the ice. So,
right.
Yeah. All right, so that's a little bit on some face-off locations. I don't know if you've got any other scenarios that we should probably cover.
I think you covered all of them.
Maybe one more. One more would be, let's say you have a puck that you're in the offensive zone, and you take a shot, and you just it goes airborne. It's like a 60-degree wedge, and it just goes right out of the rink, like you caught the puck up on edge. Does the puck stay in the zone, or does the puck come out of the zone? It went straight out. Wasn't deflected off glass, goalie, or netting or anything of that nature.
It goes outside, unfortunately.
Right. So that's not really considered.
I know that when they first said it was going to mirror the college rule, which the college rule that would stay in as long as you're trying to score, right?
Yeah.
I could tell you there's a rink that I refereed in Michigan, and from how low the glass is, but yet the goal line is moved forward, like it's moved so there's bigger space behind the nets. I don't know if you remember that, Scott. A long time ago, they tried where there's more space behind the nets.
Well, there are still rinks that have more space behind the nets than others. There are still some out there.
I can tell you this. These nets are placed perfectly to where they are the biggest problem because a guy will come down and he'll shoot it in a midget AAA game, and it'll be this high over the goal post, and it'll fly over the glass behind it because it has so much more time in order to get out there. We were blowing the whistle 50 times. Yeah. It was crazy. We were like, I'm like, and you know, the guy I'm reffing with, he's like, boy, there's a lot of pucks that go out of play here, and I'm like, you know, I came up here when COVID was going on and still hockey wasn't being played here, and I went up to Michigan and refereed, and I'm like, now I know where this rink is from. I'm like, I came up here and I remember all these pucks that flew out of play. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a long weekend. But we made it through. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. All right. Well, that covers a little bit on face-off locations and hand passes, and I think that that's some stuff that even for the experienced officials, that there's sometimes a little bit of confusion on that. Hopefully you took a couple notes from the show, and this will help you. We're going to move on. We've got holidays next weekend, Good Friday and Easter, so I think we're going to be off on Monday. So we will be back in 2 weeks. We're going to take our little Easter break ourselves and come back in 2 weeks. So with that being said, I will wish you and your family a happy Easter. And I know you got to get to hockey, and you got more going on. And so
I got all kinds of things today.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, everybody. This is the Ref Room from Chicago. I'm Scott Smokin Silz, along with Brad Baumruck. We do this every Monday at 5:30 p.m. Central Time.
I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
Thanks to Mr. Bielko. I do officially have a bag with wheels.
What?
Yes, I do. So now I can't complain about it. But I'm not going to leave it open like an insensitive jerk laid out all in the locker room. All right? But Mr. Bielko had a coupon.
Big DJ with his new setup. What's the big D? Is that you, Brad?
I think
it's the new setup.
No, it's you because the colors are changing behind you today.
They always change. They've been changing.
It looks different today. Trust me.
You know what it is? I get the reel-to-reels up over here. That's why.
Yeah, that could be it.
But it's the same. I could change the patterns. That's all.
Yeah, but he had a coupon, and he's like, hey, I can get you a bag, but, you know, it's this much. And I'm like, go ahead and get it. And I sent him over the Venmo, and I had it a couple days later. I still haven't even taken it out of the box, but next time you see me...
roller bag boy.
It's the only bags there are left. So, oh well.
All right.
Now I can get it stuck in the snow like everybody else.
Well, we had it up on buymeacoffee.com, but nobody donated to you getting a roller bag.
That's
so
okay.
I'll take that down since you got your roller bag now.
I can afford a roller bag. If I couldn't afford a roller bag, I got a couple more things going on.
Okay.
So, all right.
All right.
But
so,
there you go.
All right. Did you want to make an announcement for not this weekend, next weekend? Because we've got some special skates going on. Do you want to talk about that?
No, that'll be sent out. Yeah, that's going to be sent out to some referees.
All right, very cool.
If they're local.
All right, everybody. Well, with that, have a happy holiday. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again a week from Monday. Not next Monday, a week from Monday. Don't forget, if you want to support the channel, you can always go to buymeacoffee.com/refroom and buy Brad and myself some caffeine. Because we need it. We're quiet all the time, so we could use a little caffeine.
Yeah, I've gone from one computer today to another computer, so I'm definitely needing some caffeine.
All right. Well, we will see you guys in 2 weeks. So have a great week, everybody. Enjoy the holiday, and thanks for joining us. Peace out, everybody, from the Ref Room.